Hello and welcome back everyone to the 13th and final episode of Let's Play WildStar for the 10 days of awesome promotional open beta event. So, I promised in the last episode that I would finally, as I have inclinated my desire to do a number of times, I don't think inclinated is a word, but I don't care, I'm going to create a Mordesh, and apparently you can actually create at least 3 characters, maybe even more. And no, I do not want to be a female dragon, although she looks a great deal like a WoW-esque night elf there. And as with before, I am going to import a character that I've actually... Wait, hang on. No, don't customize this, because I don't want to... Okay, never mind. Except that, I don't want to be a dragon. I want to be... not even part of the Dominion. I want to be a Mordesh. There we are. Good. Yes. Okay. I decided in the last episode that the Mordesh need a Russian accent. This is good. This is what they shall have. So, I have predetermined a Mordesh. And then, once I load him, actually, no, before I load him, I will walk you all through the Kergen options variety for the Mordesh. It's late. I'm searching for words. Okay, now then, let's scroll out. One thing I noticed that I don't think was apparent on any of the NPCs that I came across, because they actually had, like, armor and coats and stuff on, is that the contagion, like, necro disease that affects them is much more apparent in the starting gear, because if you can't see it, like, full screen this really quick, I'm going to render this in HD, you should be able to look at this in 1080p, at least in 720, and if you look closely, you can see that's, like, raw meat. That's a cross-section of his arm. These purple things are not armor. They're like plastic extensions of their bodies, and these are all over their body. Like down here, it works a little better. Where is it? I believe, is it skin color? No, it's not skin color. Is it eye color? Yeah, there we go. Eye color is actually kind of a misnomer because it's actually most of the body. It's the eyes and these plastic parts. Let's go for that. There we go. The gray kind of shows it a little bit better in that you can see the raw meat of their bodies as well as the bones running through their forearms and some arteries and tendons and things. So it lends a bit more of a visual aid to the fact that the Mordesh are a medically cursed race. So, alright, let's jump back up front here and see a little bit more of what we've got to work with. So there are multiple facial styles. And these are where you'll find those that have the cool guy Michael Bay shades here. The medical mask, which once again, in the transparency, reveals that he has no mandibular flesh. He's just got, like, fangs beneath a ninja mask there. That's kind of brutal. I love those eyes. I can't tell if he looks like he just got stabbed in the kidneys or he's incredibly happy to see someone. Or both. That's Dobby. You can't lie to me. That is Space Elf Dobby. Master has given me a robo-sock! And there's just Elven Squidward. There we go. Alright then. That one, I kind of like the look of. He's rather stern. Stern. Yes. Alright. Very good. Alright, so then, moving on. Down to skin color, there's a fair amount of variety. You can play a goblin, should you wish. As well as a straight-up night elf. There we go. And I actually like the fact that there are not always analogous, actually in most of the fact they're not analogous, to human skin tones. This is about as close as it gets, and the rest of these are rather fantastical colorations, which I kind of like. Hairstyles, there's a fair amount of variety as well. Let me go back to another skin color. I don't like the look of the green. Alright. So you can be baldy, you can have an Indoril mohawk, or full head of hair. You can, once again, show a great deal of one's internal body parts by having a skull cap, literally, and expose one's brain to the elements, or you can have a robo-mohawk. I have not seen anybody wandering around with that. I'm guessing it's rather unpopular, at least, for now. Robo-dreads, amongst a variety of other things. Moving on to hair color, again, that is, wait, no. Hang on, I'm on hair color. Oh, right! I have no hair. Let's go back. Let's throw some hair on. There we go. Now we'll go to hair color, and demonstrate that there is, once again, a fair amount of variety. So, you can be a Space Elf Saiyan, should you wish. Eye color I've already demonstrated as actually determining a great deal of the, like, mechanical bits of the Mordesh. Down to facial accessories is where you can finally get rid of the Robo-Beard, and either have no facial accessories, or any one of these. That looks like mandibles, like it's Macari parts that have been foisted onto him. You can get a chin ring of tubes. It's a series of tubes, just like the internet. Okay, now then, body type, just as with before, a bunch of, wow, I didn't realize just how twiggy that one is. That just, you can flick him with a toothpick, and he would break first. So, yeah, you can, wow, you can be jacked with that one. So, now then, let me input my character data, update character, there we are. Yep, I basically made a space drow, and I like him. He looks a little bit concerned. He looks like something terrible is happening. Let's just edit in a little teardrop right next to that. Just, my cat just died, and I couldn't stop it. Yeah, we're gonna work with that. Alright, why not accept, and we shall name him Cursor. I like the sound of that. No, you are not a warrior. You should be an engineer. Oh, he doesn't look happy about that. Oh, you don't want to be an engineer? No, Mama said I could go to art school. Mama lied. Yeah, she really did. So, because we're an engineer, I'll try out scientist. I don't really know exactly what goes on with that path, but we'll find out. So, yeah, that's everything to do with him. Let's create him. And I do believe, if at all possible, I'm going to skip the basic introduction for this, because once again, it's just going to be the exile intro. Yeah, just as with before, so that now I can actually get a little farther in. And, wow, he's got like a bounding run animation. Okay. I'm just gonna have a little bit of look at how the engineer class performs. So obviously, if you're new to this series, this is the last episode in this series. I urge you to go back and check out the first few episodes that I did of this game, because that's where I actually really delved into how the intro quest for the Exile faction actually goes. So now, I'm just going to sprint through it all, so that I can actually advance toward the bit where I can go and fight robots. I may get as far as the bridge, because that's where the combat before really started to actually come into its own, once I got to, you know, roughly level 2. So, I do believe I shall cut forward from here to when I actually get there. Oh god, I just realized we took a pregnant woman to this man. The one who, if I'm not mistaken, created the bloody contagion. I'm not sure I would trust anyone's well-being to this man. If you want to create horrible, horrible war crime weaponry, this is the man to take too. But, actual medical treatment? I'm not so sure he's the one. Hello, Sergeant Kara. I request armament. Alright, what have I got? I've got a heavy gun of the Accord. Okay, so that's more or less... Whoa, that's not even a rifle. That's... Yeah, I think heavy gun is a good word for it. I like the wrapping on the grip. That actually looks pretty cool. Okay, now then, what are my abilities? My R ability is Eradication Mode. Increases damage dealt by 35% and decreases all resistances by 7. Let's see, enter the Eradication Exosuit for 10 seconds? What is that? Whoa! Dude! I get power armor! Oh, man! Oh, but it's got a 50-second cooldown. Oh! Why wasn't I playing an engineer this whole time? That is so awesome! Damn it! Oh, I wish I'd been playing an engineer instead of a spellslinger, because like flavor is important to me. That's got so much flavor. Okay, what else does it do? Gain 10 volatility per second. When dealing direct combat damage, you deal an additional 78 technology damage once per 2.5 seconds to 3 foes within 5 meters, not millimeters, of your victim. Reduces incoming healing by 50%, however. Alright, so there's a little bit of a drawback to it. Okay, what about my number 1 ability? Pulse Blast deals 38 damage to 5 foes and generates 15 volatility. Foes down the middle of this blast take more damage. Alright, so it's kind of a ranged, like, directional splash effect. Sounds like it, anyway. Okay, now then, let's see how it works. Bang! Oh, I like that. Oh, I so wish I had been playing an engineer before. They're so cool, and I've only just gotten started. Oh, so wishing I had done this. Alright, I think I will save my power armor for when I get to the battle on the bridge, and for now, just wreck some more robots. Oh, wait a minute, hang on. Okay, that, I think, is volatility. Yes, it is. Okay, let's see. What is that? Generated while in combat by abilities such as Pulse Blast and consumed by powerful abilities such as Electrocute, starts empty and dissipates out of combat. Okay, so I'm guessing that volatility is going to be something that will buff later abilities, or that later abilities will be dependent upon. Got it. I'm starting to get how this works now. So, where do I go? Heal Sadie Rightland. Was she this far down before? Yeah, she was. I just came in that door when I first came through here that time. Alright, whatever. Let's heal her up, and be on our way. Ah, the first scientist I've come across. This is the guy that called me this time, instead of the soldier guy. Whispers in the shadows say you are winding your way to the Rock and Rouse Tower. Find me here when you arrive. We must speak of science. I'll be there shortly. Alright then. That's one of the things that I did want to check out a little bit in this video. I would check out more, but unfortunately, time is of the essence. I have until, I'm not even sure when. It's past midnight, so technically, now's the day that the 10 Days of Awesome ends. So I'm guessing it'll probably be somewhere around noonish. I know that's when a lot of the games tend to do that sort of thing. So it's getting very, very late now, which is to say, this is my last night to record any of this. Alright. Yeah, Scientist Path Icons, got it. Exile Academy of Science. It is agreeable to make your acquaintance. In time, I will mete out missions to you. After all, you must practice prior to planetfall. I'm ready when you are. Okay. Very good. Now we're gonna go and talk to Brewmaster Greco, talk to everybody, and then see about getting to the bridge to go and fight things. Very good. Now we've made it to the bridge, and now we may enter our first combat. This cutscene, I think, I'm gonna stick around for, because I want to see the other ships warp in the background before. That was one of the best spectacle visuals for this faction's introductory quest here. This is purely for the eye candy. That just looks cool. Oh, I recognize those now. I recognize that as the same sort of frigate dropship, as dropped me off as my Draken character on the planet. Okay, I'm actually starting to recognize some of these now. Such a shame that I'm finally recognizing things at the end of my time with this game. Alright, Commander. Give me an assignment. I want to go and kill things. Good, I've now leveled up. I am level 2, and I've now got my second ability. What is this? Electrocute. 3-second channel, 8 volatility per tick. No cooldown. Awesome. Deals 31 technology damage to 5 foes every half a second. That's cool. I like the sound of that. Alright. Ah, who's calling me now? What's your situation? I'm working on it! They don't stand a chance, sir. Right, click on you. Oh, right, he gives me a shield. I forgot about that. There we go. Shield equipped. Let's ride into battle. And while I conduct my final epic battle for this game, I will share with you all my conclusionary thoughts for this game. In short, I like it, but I am not sure that it's got quite enough for me personally. That is an important distinction to make here. For me, personally, to keep me coming back to this game, especially because it is a subscription game that requires an initial purchase as well, and not a free-to-play game, much less a game that I actually think this would thrive as even more. One that adopts more the Guild Wars business model that I would be happy to pay an initial payment for, basically the box cost. But I just don't find myself compelled enough by this game to justify a monthly subscription, the likes of, you know, other more expansive MMOs. Now, I'm sure there's a great deal of content to this game that I simply never reached, and that to those who really enjoy a dedicated MMO experience, it may be worth that subscription to you. And I can certainly see where that worth is coming from here. I'm not disparaging this game. It does have some flaws, some more deep-rooted than others. But I, for one, would at least be happy to pay a even full $60 box cost for this game if I didn't have to worry about a subscription after the fact. Now, that said, if those of you out there who really like the look of this game have enjoyed what videos I've put out on it, who may have also participated in the 10 Days of Awesome Open Beta, remember, you don't necessarily have to pay for a subscription for this game because of the cred system. And I'll break that down one more time for those of you who may have either forgotten or gotten cloudy on it or just weren't around for my initial explanations. The cred system is much like the EVE Online Plex system, which is to say, for one, let me try out Electrocute. Okay, I don't know why I was trying that off for so long. Anyway, cred is, as I understand it, an in-game consumable item, which I believe costs 20 real-world dollars if you were to buy one on the NCSoft store, and equates to 30 days worth of playtime. Now, you can actually earn these with in-game currency, and I suppose earn is not a proper term. You can buy them with in-game currency on, I believe, a player-driven market, so the price will fluctuate given player demand and all of the usual things that go into determining an item's price on a player-driven economy. And with that, if you are a very prolific player and you generate a lot of in-game currency, you can actually essentially sustain yourself and your subscription after your initial box cost payments with nothing but in-game playtime. Now, I don't know how much playtime it's really going to demand of you to generate enough currency to make that a viable option. I have no idea. I've obviously not played this game enough, and I don't know that anybody really has at this point, considering we're still in the open beta period. But let's see here. Let me complete this, and then I will resume my conclusions. Walker's Aid. Yes, sir. Nah, Bell Walker's still trapped. Well, there's nothing to kill down there. So I'm just gonna hang out on the bridge and continue to kill things while I talk. This seems like fun. I'm gonna do this. So, again, there is a great deal of draw for this game should you be a true MMO enthusiast and not necessarily someone who ordinarily, I admit, would like things like more single-player, more narrative and character-driven MMOs, or not MMOs, but RPGs, like I do. I totally admit to that fact. I will own up to that with no problem. But as I've said before, the issues that are apparent in so many MMOs are things that don't necessarily have to be issues for them, those MMOs. So just because it is the status quo, just because it is the trend for example, MMOs to have rather nonsensical quests at times, like this. I mean, there are soldiers everywhere, all over this bridge, that despite the fact that enemy personnel are running amok everywhere, are not doing anything. They're just standing here. I ain't scared of dying here. Okay, well, I say that, and then they prove me wrong by essentially going and killing an NPC, but they're not advancing. They're just kind of holding a position on their own ship. These are logistical issues that are endemic to all MMO storytelling in my experience, and they don't necessarily have to be. By way of instancing, you can actually get rid of some of those things, and unfortunately they don't really instance very many encounters. I don't believe any, actually, that I've encountered in this game thus far, and that works to its narrative detriment, which is unfortunate. But again, it's just sort of a commonality between this and most MMOs, but just because it's done by everyone doesn't necessarily make it okay. It's something that I would like to see corrected, a trend that I would like to see stop in a lot of MMOs. But again, those who aren't necessarily here for the narrative, for the logistics, that are really just here for a solid set of game mechanics to play with alongside friends, and for whom the background and the narrative and the story and the races and the lore is all just window dressing for really just a game, something to have fun with, something to act as a pastime with, something to enjoy as a hobby. To those people, none of those issues may matter, and I completely understand that. That's just a difference of playstyle, it's a difference of taste, and a difference of priorities. But I acknowledge that, and I also offer my personal take on it, simply because I know that there are those out there who also agree with my stance on it. So, because of that, I have mixed feelings for this game. The one thing that is going to be both its strong suit and a deterrent for some people, it's going to draw some in and drive others away, is the fact that when you're playing this game, it is very easy to completely disregard what's going on and to just keep clicking that arrow. Just go follow, go pick up item X, kill enemy X, go to location Y, and then continue and rinse, lather, repeat. And there's not a lot of substance to that kind of pattern. It feels empty. It feels like there's not a whole lot of reason for it other than for the grind. And I'm not really a fan of that. However, it does seem that unlike MMOs that I've spent a great deal of time with, like Final Fantasy XI, this game actually moves at a relatively quick pace. You guys have seen by now almost all, with the exception of a few cutout minutes, of my time with this game. And that said, I was at level, what, 7, 8, even as high as 9? I don't know, I'm not sure, entirely sure. I don't think I reached level 10, but I got fairly high in levels with the human character that I created for the Exiles. And that was with only a matter of I don't know, I would call it 6, 7, maybe 8 hours into the game, maybe even less than that. So that's actually a pretty good progress rate. I don't feel like this game stagnates. I don't feel like I'm stuck at any given level. It seems like it levels me at just the right time, as long as I'm following the quest paths, and I'm not really lingering. And even when I started to disregard some of the side quests and really try to push forward, I didn't feel like I was necessarily losing out, like I had to grind to keep up with the main quest. Now given, that's still very early game. That pattern may change when you get farther in, and I will of course direct you to more comprehensive reviews to get an idea of how any parts of the game beyond the late stages of early game actually go. Again, this is not a comprehensive review. This is more or less a long and drawn-out first impressions review of the early game. This is sort of an extended first 15 in that I recognize with MMOs they're a bit like MOBAs in that you must invest a great deal of time and effort into one of these to really get an idea of what you're working with, because a lot of what gives MMOs their substance is late game material, which I honestly just have not reached yet with this game. I haven't had the opportunity or the time to reach yet. But had I been given the opportunity, I would have, because this game has succeeded in hooking me well enough to make me want to. You guys saw the way my eyes lit up when that happened, when I donned the power armor, which I now really want to test. I've got 53 seconds. Let's do it. Actually, no, I've got less than that. 53 is the cooldown. Damn. Alright, so while I talk, I'm gonna let that recharge, and then I think I'll cap off by taking on Equalizer Veka in my power armor. That seems like a fitting end to this episode. Good climactic. Good punctuation. Yes, punctuation of action. So, WildStar. Do I recommend it? Maybe. I'm leaning closer to yes than no, and that is a good thing, because this does break away from a great deal of the things that I don't like about a lot of other MMOs, the things that make me get very bored very quickly. The degree of customization is admirable. There are some other games that have done customization better, and I will admit there are some free-to-play games that have done customization better. APB Reloaded immediately comes to mind. Other subscription-based games do have better character generation. EVE Online comes to mind. But this doesn't just saddle players with presets. Even when it comes to the player options, you can actually go into sliders and adjust your face, so you can actually do a great deal with that. There's a fair smattering of races, and that variety, I think, goes a long way, especially given that all of the classes that I have played actually have a fair degree of both balance and functional satisfaction. I feel like I'm actually doing cool gunslinger, taking out like multiple targets in a row when playing the Spellslinger. The Engineer, I just love the flavor of it. I love the freaking power armor. I like the big rifle. Playing as a Stalker, that was actually really fun because you get to go into equal parts stealth action when you're trying to sneak up and line up criticals after cloaking, and then just claws, blood on the wall, spray it, kill them all action, which is a nice, fun little dichotomy to bounce back and forth between, and especially playing as a Draken Stalker, that just got all kinds of fun. Again, the Deathclaw, I enjoyed that. So, by now, you very likely, before even listening to me, made up your minds about this game. For my part, had I a larger budget, which I simply do not right now, I might be persuaded to actually pay this game's subscription and continue to play it, because it is giving me a lot of fun. However, I'm not sure how long I would stick with it, because I am the sort to get hung up on narrative, to really want to invest in it, and when the narrative disappoints me, I start feeling myself less and less invested in the game. You guys saw the way I got near the tail end of the quests I was doing as my human character, and that got really, really weak, which is why I just kind of said, whoa, screw it, I'm getting bored, let's do something different, let's play a Draken, and suddenly things got interesting again. So now that I'm doing the Mordesh, this is more or less just an exploration of the character generation and the class. So anyway, at this point, I don't have a great deal else to say about this game. It is not necessarily going to be for everyone. However, if you are between MMOs, as it were, this is a very, very strong recommendation for WildStar. If you're already the type that will enjoy the bouncing between quests, the grinding, there isn't much of really a grind in this game. However, I've understood that later on it gets very difficult, and that, as well, may be a draw for some players. I know some have lamented the fact that a lot of MMOs, in the guise of streamlining, have really become very simplistic and have really become unchallenging lately. That's a trend that even I have noticed, and I'm not even a tremendous MMO player. And this game, even as I started to encounter, as I really started to leave the very early levels, gets difficult. I've heard it compared to like MMO Dark Souls before, and I'm starting to realize why. And I'm also starting to realize that, like Dark Souls, because this game gives you the tools to actually think and to strategize fairly well in its combat, if you die, it's your fault. It means you bit off more than you could chew. It means you didn't plan accordingly. It means you didn't dodge an attack that you actually could dodge. Because enemies here, most of the time, aren't going to be auto-attacking. They're going to be using abilities that will foreshadow what they're going to do, even for just a brief second, right before they do. And if you don't get out of the way of it, that's on you. That's not the game just auto-attacking you with things you can't do anything about, the likes of a lot of other auto-aggro enemies in a lot of other MMOs. So once again, you are left with the responsibility of your actions, and I like that. That accountability of the player, of their actions, is something I really enjoy, because that leads to a sensation of satisfaction when you actually down big foes. It's not just feeling like, oh, I spammed the right abilities, and I might have had some help, and we finally destroyed the big monster, but it's feeling like, oh, okay, I actually like dodged out of the way of it, I used the right abilities at the right times, I stunned it, I interrupted its abilities, and then I was able to finish it off. Now that said, some of the bosses and mini-bosses and sub-bosses and things in this game have not often felt very challenging. I think the biggest satisfaction that I got in terms of that was actually taking on the hologram of the main Granok soldier when I was playing as a Draken. That was actually pretty rewarding. Even that, however, was brief. Fighting tanks in this game is just not all that rewarding. But, once again, the graphic style, great. The audio direction, great. I like the background tracks. I like most of the voice acting. I would say over half of the voice acting in this game I really like. I'm not just neutral about, I enjoy. Especially the narrator! That guy's awesome. And that, I think, really wraps my conclusions for this game. So, rather than just staring at a bunch of blue screens, what say we celebrate the 13th and final episode of WildStar by donning the armor and jumping into battle against Equalizer Veka. Let us burn her. Let us drive her from the ship. And, oh, she's already dead. You too die! So this has been WildStar, everybody. I have enjoyed my time with this game. I've really been rushing to get to as much content as I possibly could for you all throughout the 10 Days of Awesome Open Beta. Once again, this game will be available for sale. I'm not sure exactly when. I will have to put that in the description below if you want to check out a little bit more of this game. If you missed the open beta, or if you've only watched these and haven't really checked out the game for yourself, I'll link down to the actual webpage for this game in the description below, so that you can decide finally for yourself for the very last time before I disperse from this game, whether or not it is worth your time and or your money. I am Mr. Black, here at Last Level Press, and as always, I wish you all good gaming, and Godspeed. The white guy needs a bullet to the brain. Gonna get you an offer you can't refuse, and that offer is lead in your skull, right in your face hole. Oh god. Uh-oh. Nope, I made the big man angry.